Welcome back to the Evansville Otters pregame show. I'm Mike Radomski. It's time now for the manager's report, as we're joined here by the Otters skipper Andy McCauley. And Andy, we'll start off with yesterday's game. It was a comeback 5-4 win for Evansville. What did you see during it?
It was a good game. I mean, I was, start to finish. Edwards threw well for us, kept us in that ball game. We didn't really have much in the pen as far as fresh arms, so he really battled and, gutted out a pretty good performance for us, kept us in that ball game, and we were lucky enough to get some opportunity later in the game with some great at-bats. Not to let it slide what Chris Rollins did for us with a tired arm, and then Jared Simon's ninth inning was outstanding as well. But some real quality at-bats there in the ninth inning to get the walk-off opportunity for Greg Alexander, and he came through again. But a clean game, and it was a great baseball game.
How important was that leadoff walk and that battle from Vinny Scarduzio?
Well, anytime you want to get the leadoff guy on in the ninth inning, it's always a bonus, and it was a great at bat. Fouled off some pitches, probably saw 6, 7, 8 pitches, and earned himself a walk. And that they kind of panicked a little bit, went to their pen, and the guy they brought in ended up working a walk. So they let the door open a little bit, but we had some great approaches there and didn't chase any bad pitches and earn those walks. They weren't easy free passes. So real good at bats to get the inning going, and then some quality at bats by the guys that drove in the runs: Kolb, Ball, and of course Alexander.
You mentioned Greg Alexander, his third walk of the season. What makes him so clutch in those critical positions?
I just think he's got the ability to really tune things out and enjoy the moment and slow the speed of the game down in those situations. A lot of people get wrapped up in it and get a little emotional and trying to do too much. He stays within himself, looks for a pitch he can hit, and he doesn't miss it in those situations. He hits the ball hard. He's come through big for us.
Andy McCauley joining us here on the Evansville Otters pregame show. Let's switch it over to pitching. You mentioned Chad Edwards before, 123 pitches. How important was it to save the bullpen and go as deep as he could?
Well, we didn't have a plan B. I mean, we had no other options. He had to go. And that fourth inning, when it came unglued a little bit with a play at the plate that we should have made, second, third, contact down, they were going, but we got to make that play there, and that opened the door a little bit for a big inning. So they got their 4 in that inning, and he settled in and shut them down after that. But it was huge. I mean, I can't say enough what he did for us. His last 2 starts have been outstanding. I think he gave up 3 runs in his last outing, gave up 4 here, but we didn't help him out a whole lot on defense there. But saved our bullpen, getting us those tough innings, the 6th and 7th.
Some managers say the 100 pitch count is something important. Some say it means nothing. What's your stance on that?
I don't think it means anything. I mean, if the guy's still getting people out, it depends on the situation. I mean, nobody, the fans really, don't know unless they're really following the club who we have available and who's pitched the night before. So it's a lot of different things go into that pitch count thing. But if the guy's, healthy and throwing strikes and around the plate, the pitch count doesn't mean anything. Some pitchers throw better when they get a little more tired. He gets great movement. The further he goes, his arm slot comes down a little bit, and he gets great movement, good sink on his 2-seamer, and that's what bailed him out of some tight innings later on in the game. But no, I don't think the pitch count comes into play, especially in the Frontier League. That's more organizational.
In a close game in the late innings, Chris Rollins a shutdown 8th inning, Jared Simon strikes out the side in the 9th. What did those two bring to the table and set up the offense for a chance late?
Well, they were quick innings. We were out in the field very short periods of time. I think there was a 12-pitch inning followed by Jared Simon's 15-pitch inning. I mean, they were pretty quick innings, and when you get some momentum going, and then you have quick innings like that, you're back in the dugout swinging again. So that's baseball in a nutshell. I mean, the longer you're out in the field, the longer you're away from what you're trying to do offensively, and it just set the tone for for some good battles there in the 8th and 9th inning.
Andy McCauley joining us here on the Evansville Otters pregame show. You look forward to today. It's the series finale against the Miners. What do the Otters need to do to win this one?
We got to do the same thing we did last night. I mean, good approaches at the plate. Our offense is still sputtering, but we did a little better job last night. Some good at-bats, some good approaches. And we hope we get a good start out of Mr. Peters. But, he's been throwing the ball pretty well for us, and hopefully he can continue, and we'll see what he brings us tonight.
And how has Chris improved since that last start where you changed his arm slot?
I think it's night and day difference. It's an adjustment that he has to still make. So we recommended he do it, and JR was working with him a little bit. Now Watson, both of them working with him. Talking about some finer things. He's a little more comfortable in that arm slot as far as throwing strikes and being around the plate. But you got to give credit to the kid for making the adjustment back to where he was and being able to find the plate with that. But he's a lot more aggressive. He throws more strikes, and he's got a little better action on his pitches. But like I said, hopefully he can keep his pitch count down. he's kind of a higher pitch count guy, but he really loses a lot as his pitch count gets up there. So we got to be a little more careful with him than we do with Edwards as far as pitch count goes. But then again, we have a fresher pen down there, so we should be able to go to our pen with a little more confidence.
Andy, thanks again for joining us. Best of luck tonight against Southern Illinois.
All right, you got it, Mike.
That was Andy McCauley, the Otter skipper. We'll be right back on the manager's report right after this.